Hey, it's me, Meg, and on this video, I'll show you how you can do simple walk and idle animations on your top-down game. This is going to be using the blend tree system for animations, and now let's get on with the video. So today, we're going to make a blend tree tutorial for a 2D game. Um, I've done a bunch of blend trees before in the past. They're pretty easy to do, and I've seen a bunch of, other game devs do the kind of like the spiderweb animation. I'm not a big fan of those, so I recommend always to do the blend trees. This is going to be more for a top-down type of movements. So if you have a top-down game, this would be perfect time to use a blend tree. So in my example, I'm using this kind of player right here. He's kind of like moving, he's got his idle animation, he's got a walk animation down, he's got also a walk animation to the right, one to the left, and then one going up. There's going to be the idle, which is going to be the default section here. And then these put together will be the walk animation. So let's start with our player. Let's have him facing, how about right here. We're going to search this, add it into our inspector here. And then this is again using Unity 2021.3.3. If later on there's a new version of Unity, then I think it should work the same. I don't think the blend tree has changed much. But just in case, this is going to be the version I'm using for this example. So once we put in our player, right, we grab it in here. We're going to have our small player here. Next thing we want to do is we're going to work with the animator. So we're going to go into Windows, go into Animations here, and then we'll just add them in here. And here we can just click this Create Animation. Click this here. And then I like to make it into a folder. You can put it into your assets wherever you like. I like doing it into a nice little folder here. So I'll do a new folder, call it Animations. Animations. Put it in here. And then since we're doing it with the right animation, we'll go with player underscore, oops, sorry about that. Let's player underscore right idle. Or you can do yeah, I'll do it like this. You can always change it around, or you can do underscores here too as well. So player underscore right underscore idle. You can save this. We'll focus on all the idle movements first. So in this case, player 4 is going to be my right here. This is going to be my first idle movement. Let's make another one. Let's make the left, the up, and the down. That should be easy. Same process. Player underscore left underscore idle. We're going to grab our left section, which is going to be, for me, is this first movement here. And you can always hit play just to see how it looks. Right, perfect. So we got our left. Let's create the up and down. Player underscore up idle. So we're gonna look for the up sprite right here. Perfect. Hit play. There it is. Now let's do the down version, which is easier. Player underscore down dot idle, which is here. Right, we can hit play, and there it is. Perfect. Now let's do our walk animations. Create a new clip. I'm gonna do player underscore right underscore walk. In this case, I can just, these are already pre-sliced. I can just put these in here and then just drag them in. The easiest way to do it is select all these sprites that I'm using, these three, drag them in. And instead of like splicing them out, I know some people like kind of like moving around. You can use this sample size. I like to use sample size of 8. And then you can just hit play. And there you go. There's our right animation. This is kind of like a little tip that I do. We have the right. Let's create new clip. Player underscore left walk. And then we can grab our left animations, which is this, drag it in. We can change it back to 8 sample size. Hit play, there's our left. So we got right, left, let's do down now. Layer, down, walk. If I can spell it. There we go. We're gonna grab these 3 here, drag it in, change this to 10, same process, hit play, perfect. Right, we get a nice little walk down animation, and then the last one is the up animation. Layer, up, walk. Grab these 3, paste it in, boom. Right, make it 8 sample rates, play, and there you go. There's our simple animations. So now if we go back to our player, there's going to be a section where you can click on animator. So if you go Windows, animations, animator, you're going to have all these stuff, right? These are the typical spider web that you'll see where you do the boolean and then you change it around. So my suggestion would be to delete all these, right? We're not going to use any of these. We're going to use a blend tree instead. So to start with the blend tree, all you do is you right click, create a state, new blend tree. We're going to call these idols. Right? Idols. And now we can delete all these. We are not going to use any of these. We're going to use this blend tree right here. So the first thing that blend tree is going to do is going to create a little parameter. It's going to create one that's called blend. You don't need this one. We're going to use 2 floats here that we'll create. We click on this click plus float. We're going to use one for X. Yep. I can change it here. X. And another one for the Y position. Y. Once we have those in, we can start putting the blend tree together. We click on idols. And in here, we just double click. Click here. It's going to ask what kind of blend type it is. And since it is a top down, we're going to use a 2D simple directional, right? Parameters are going to be X, Y, and Z. X and Y. And then it's going to say motion is empty. Let's create a couple motions. We're going to add 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right? Easy. So we're going to just add them in here. For that, we can just click on animations. And if they're like this, we can change the type. I think it was like right click, or I think you can change this to where is it? Search type. I know there's a way of changing these properties to different. Oh, either way, you can see it down here. Player down idle. We can just drag them in. So player down idle, let's just do with this one. Drag it in here. Right? So this is going to be down. What we're do is we're just going to change our position here. So if it's down, we're going to say -1 on Y. And then this is the little circle that's going to be down. Let's go with up next. This is player animation up idle. Let's drag it here. And then this one's going to be 0 on the X, positive on 1 on the Y. Next one, let's do left. And this is the left. Drag it here. And then, yep, that's right. -1 on X, 0 on the Y. And then the last one is right? Which is this one here. Drag it in. Perfect. So 1 here, and then 0 here. There we go. There's our idle animations for blend tree. So this is going to be in here. So now we can go back to our base layer here. We click on this. And then one thing I like to do, it's this layer. If you guys didn't know, you can add different layers to this animator. So what I like to do is, and sometimes I see it where you have attacks and everything in one animator. But did you know that you can do layers for animators? So we're going to do that. We're going to have one for idles. We're going to have one for walks. Later on, you can add attacks, crouching, jumping, whatever you want to do. So definitely take advantage of this layer system. You're going to change this name. Instead of layers, we're going to call it idols. And yep, we're going to create another one. We're going to call this one walks. All right, so now we can click on back and forth here. This one has the idols blender. This one has the walks blender or new state. Here we can do the same thing, create a new state, new blend tree. And yep, we're going to call this one walk. Double click here. Click here. We're going to go with a 2D simple directional. Same process again. X, Y. All right. We're going to do this a little bit faster. Oh, sorry. Not. No, I didn't want to add a new blend tree. Too fast. Let's delete this one. Minus. Yes. We'll delete that blend tree. I meant to do the motion. There we go. Motion, motion, and then motion. Here we'll just add the animations. This is going to be down walk, -1. And then we're going to do up here, up walk. This is going to be 0 on the X, 1 on the Y. And then left, we can go here. Right? This is going to be -1 and then 0. Whoops, 0. There we go. And then right, which is the final one, which is going to be this one here. Drag it in. Same process. We're going to make it 1. Then it's going to be 0. Perfect. So we got our walks and idle animations ready. Now let's do our scripting for this. I already did a little script here. I called it player. I have it here, right? You can call in your script and then just drag it into your player animator. Just drag it in, and then now we have it in here. So we'll start from scratch, right? We'll do this little player example. I probably have already most of the scripts, but it's going to be basic speed movements. So we're going to add our speed, and I'm going to copy most of my parameters here. So I'm going to copy these basic parameters. And like I said, you can use the headers if you want. You don't have to use the headers. I like them because it looks neat in the inspector, but you don't really need it. Serialized field, I recommend serialized private field, but you can do public as well. I definitely always recommend to do everybody use serialized private. This will make it come up in the inspector, and then you can always change it in private. You're going to do the speed, right? Rigid body, public rigid body RV, private vector 2 for player velocity, and of course the animator. Right? From here, then we'll copy a couple of things. And I like to do a method for movements. So what we can do is simple public void move. And this is going to be, oh, and I don't know why Unity or Visual Studio does this to me. Just move. We can call it move. We don't need to assign it something else. So we can leave it as move. Here we're going to copy a couple of vector 2 sections. This, if you guys haven't seen this, you can see it from Braggy's tutorials. They show you how to do the vector 2 movements on a top-down game. They do a really good job. I like how they explain it. But we're just going to copy and paste it real easy. So from here we have a vector 2 move input, new vector 2. We're going to get the axis that we need. We're going to the horizontal axis and the vertical axis since it's top down. Player velocity is going to be on the vector 2. We're going to get our move input that normalized times speed. All right, that's when it's going to give us our inputs, all our velocities and all that we can change. This is going to be the important one, the move input. That's going to say which direction we're going. Either on the -1 on the x-axis or on the positive side, which is the right side, or vice versa, going up and down. Next, there's a new quick section in here you can do. You can say if, all right, or move input. Oh, not just regular. Move input, right? Here we can say .x, right? does not equal 0, right? Or we can say something like move input y does not equal 0. What this does is it's saying if we're not walking, we're not hitting the right button or left button or up or down, right? Or we're not idle. In other words, if we're not idle on the X or Y position, we're gonna do a walk animation, right? And then to do that, we just set our floats. We're gonna call our animator here, which is a public animator. We're gonna say animator dot set float, right? It's gonna be here. We're gonna call this double quotes X, comma, move input dot X. So what this is gonna do is gonna say for our set float that equals X in our animator for the player, assign it the move input dot X. So if it's gonna be 1, which in our case it is gonna be 1, right? It's gonna assign it to X. And then that is gonna interpret into the blend tree. Blend tree is gonna take that in and it's gonna say, oh, it's positive 1, you're going to the right. Or Y is positive 1, then you're going up. Just to keep it simple. And we can do the same thing for the Y. All right, thank you, Visual Studio. Just fills it out for me. We can do save, right? And then now we can activate our layers. To activate our layers, we can say something like this. We can say, and I'm just gonna copy it here. And there's other ways of activating it too. You can say animator set layer weight, animator get layer index. Layer name is gonna be, in their case, box. And you can put this in double quotes since it's a string. There we go. Perfect. All right, so now we have our walks. Now we need our idles. So to do that, we're gonna say else in this if section. So in other words, if it's saying if it's 0, right? 0 is just stopping. We're not hitting any buttons. We're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna say animator set weights animator, right? Idles. And if you want, if you do get deeper into this, you can do like a for loop, right? I have a for loop that I use, kind of like an active layer activator. But this works too. This works fine as well. So now we can hit save on this. Now we need to get our player movements. Player movements is gonna be easy. All we need to do is do an void update, right? And then we'll call in our move method. And I've seen people put in an update. I don't recommend it. I like putting it into my own method, just in case if I ever want to get rid of this or there's a error. I like doing it this way. It's much easier. Now let's get a rigid body movements. Rigid body, I do it on fixed update, which works too. You can do this. Put it here. You can do a void fixed update, RB, move position, right? Rigid body position plus velocity times time that delta time. And then that all it's gonna do is just make our movement move left to right from rigid body. Let's save this and then let's test it out. Let's see, speed, let's give him a speed of, let's do 5. Rigid body, let's assign a rigid body. Oh, we need to create a rigid body. That's right. Do a rigid body 2D. That's right. Let me move this up. No gravity. Let's drag it in here. And then we'll drag in our animator as well. Hit play, and then let's see how that works. Drum roll. Let's see. We hit right. Look at that. Perfect. Right? The only thing is the idles is kind of off, but I think I know what it is. But yep, it's doing the walks perfectly. The idles is a little bit off, and I think it might be the way I renamed it. Idles. Let's see. Oops, not this one. Sorry. Let me see. Else set layer wave idles. I might have spelled it wrong. Give me a minute here. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I need to deactivate it. Let's do the disactivation actually. Let me do the for loop here. The only problem with this is we may need to do a for loop. To do that, to kind of counteract, we'll do a public void active layer. And then we'll call in our string layer name like this. Right? Typically, once we get out of here, we would have to disactivate this layer like this. So it'll be like this sort of thing. We have to change this the layer weight like this, right? But to avoid this, we can do something else. We can do something in a for loop, right? Kind of like this. We can say, and this would be great if you want to switch around with other type of animations. So we can say for int I equals 0. Semicolon it I greater than animator dot layer count. Yep, I plus plus. Call this in, and then we can now set the layer weight here, so we can deactivate the layer. That's one thing that, you know, it doesn't work similar to how the animator is. You kind of have to deactivate it from here. From here, then we can add the animator layer name here. So then now, instead of doing this section, we can just call it in from this method here. Right? So let's get rid of this. And then let's call in our active layer method. We can say active layer. Right? Call in our name, which is box. And instead of here idles, we can call in our idles here. Active layer. Idles. Semicolon it, close it off, save it. So this is just gonna activate it and deactivate it once the layer count is done. Let's save this and then let's try this. I believe this will work. Now let's hit play. And yep, oh, actually the idle is working now. Let's see. Let me see. There is walks. Did I misspell it? Walks. That's funny. Now the walks is not working. Let's see if I miss a parameter here. No problem. Let's see. Did I miss something? Walks. Active layer walks. Let me see. I might have missed something. Let's see. Movement, string animator. Yes, that looks good. Move inputs, active layer walks, idles. We almost have it. I think the idles is working now, but now I have to set the walks. Kind of like to inter switch between the two. Let's see if we can figure this one out real quick. This one won't take too long. Move input, active layers, string name, layer name. Oh, of course. Here, idles. This is my bad. This is a mistake. Sorry about that. This should have been layer name. Haha. Figures. Okay. That was my mistake. That's what I get for copy and pasting it too much. Now we can try it out. Hit play. And yep, there you go. Perfect. Easy tutorial. I definitely recommend doing the blend trees. They're not hard to do, right? You saw how long that took. Maybe a good 10 to 15 minutes max. Now we can, if we hit right, we go up, it's gonna do the idle animation. It's gonna do the walk animation, we're standing still. If we hit down, we'll do this step animation right, like this, right? And then later on, let's say we wanted to do kind of like a Zelda type of game, like a clone. We can create more animations here in our layers. or animator layers. We can do attacks, right? We can do something like this called attacks, right? We can do crouching, we can do jumping, we can do special type of attacks without doing this whole big spider web thing that we get, usually what we get with all these animators and booleans. All right. Definitely recommend using the blend trees. They're great and powerful. If you guys have any questions, you can put it on the comments below. Um, definitely subscribe, like this video if you like it. I can go over more things if you want to. And yeah, that's it for the tutorial. Hope you guys liked it. And then you can learn from a couple of things from what I do for on my games.